Hello, my name is Joseph Flowers. I'm doing this recording to showcase Armitage, a tool for exploits. I'm doing this for a pen testing class at my college, Northwestern Michigan College. So to save time, I set it up by adding hosts. We add host, put the IP address in here. I added a Linux DNS server, web server. This is a Windows Server 2016, just a workstation. This is Windows Server 2016 domain controller. And this is a not quite functioning file server with cloud integration. So let's see how this all works out. Now I've gone through, and you can right click here, scan, and it runs the Metasploit scan. As you can see here, this is for the DNS server. See services, this is on the workstation. Then you can also run nmap by selecting your host or the group. Come through here, nmap scan. Now I've noticed sometimes the nmap database doesn't sync up, so you might have to try it more than once, and once in a while some of the scan options just won't work. Oh, and I should probably mention, before you even start Armitage, there's a script that does not work, and it causes the whole thing to freeze up if you try to run a Hail Mary exploit or try to change your exploit settings. It's right here, it's the salt stack, salt unauth, RCE, and it is saved under user share metasploit framework modules exploits Linux miscellaneous, and you're going to need to get rid of that. I moved it somewhere else in case I decide to look at it, but it definitely will not work with the script in there. So first things first, remove that. So back over here, as you can see, I ran the scan. There's the workstation. Services for the file server. Nmap on the file server. Brought up some interesting stuff. Scan on it. Scan on the domain controller. Nmap on the domain controller. Brings up quite a bit. This one I ran the no ping T4, so this is noisy. Capital A -V vulnerabilities, so we're checking NSE scripts. We're getting names, domain name, encryption information. OS, it's 2016 data center. And there's a lot going on here. And here is the web server. Got some versions here. Most of the stuff will populate. With the nmap scan, you'll only get a few things with the regular scan. So here's the nmap scan for it. Bringing up, we had some errors pop up. SMB security. Account has a guest account. Lots of information here. Oh, I see it's moving around. Once you get too many things on here, it gets a little confusing. I notice it'll pop, see it move services down here. So let's see. Oh, here we go. So kind of just, you can go in here and set your exploits individually. Let's see here. It's showing us some exploits here, logins, telnet. I actually messed around with this one a little bit. There's a weird username where you can put in some characters and it turns on an exploit, and then you can log in separately through telnet again. So you can see this one didn't show up as any. We can try ps exec here. Go try ps exec here. Right now it doesn't have any usernames or passwords, so it's just going to guess. This one we can try to HTTP login. That would be the file server. And I haven't set any usernames or passwords or anything, so if it can't find a backdoor in, it's just going to bump up against the wall. But let me show you what the Hail Mary looks like. So we're set right now to pretty much try everything. Exploit rank, poor. Attacks, you can find attacks, or Hail Mary. Find attacks just more does scans and checks stuff. Yep, nothing stealthy about this. So if you were going to run this and try to be stealthy, you'd probably want to run separate attacks on other systems just to create a bunch of noise and try to confuse people. You know, hping with a random source or something similar. Something else to cause a bunch of noise. So it would be harder to track down what actually happened. Now this takes a little bit. I've not run this with this many systems before. But let's see what we get. Finding exploits via local magic. Oh no. And we're on salt. Which should be removed, but it looks like it's still on the list. I am going to pause the recording and straighten this up. Okay, so luckily I had Armitage will save most of your stuff from your previous session. I had deleted it after I had started Armitage, so I had to go back in and get it out of the list. Let's run this again. Don't quite have all my stuff open, but it did save most of the services data and stuff which it needs to run the attacks. And let's watch it again and make sure it doesn't try to do it. Linux, miscellaneous. Okay, we made it through. Now I know the .44, there are a few exploits available. It doesn't quite bring up all of them. There's a whole host. But let's see what it brings up. We should at least get a telnet or an SMB backdoor. I'll give you a little show on what I had done before. This is post exploit. This is just targeting that machine. Brings up some active sessions. One of them is pretty much just PHP shell. But I logged in, catted the pass WD file, cat the shadow file, and check out users in the web admin PHP shell, it looks like. Let's get back here and check it out. So there it was going through the scripts, trying to figure out what it could try. Now it's going, checking them versus the payloads. And then once it does that, it will attempt the payloads. Now it's telling us which exploits it found, if there were any available, what it's going to try. So 813 and 601. I can guarantee you only a couple of those might work. Says it found a few on the workstation. And now we are trying them. So it's running through the workstation first. Let's watch these, I guess. And now we're on to the web server. Noisy, noisy, noisy. It's kind of fun to watch and see what it's trying out. There's a Moodle. Pandora. Some PHPs. Rail. There's Tomcat. Surprised I couldn't find a Tomcat. It's definitely running an insecure version of Tomcat. Some PF Sense. AWS. Something interesting I read today is apparently AWS had, and a bunch of other companies had used some microservers that a manufacturer in China had inserted their own chips onto the motherboard and were later discovered, but they were creating backdoors to steal company data. They weren't really targeting even small companies, they were targeting really large corporations and governments. And I kind of want to pause it just to save time, but it's kind of fun watching the lightning bolts appear when everything gets mad. Oh, Prime 18 did it skip 44? Might have to run this again. Also, armitage, I don't know if maybe it's just my system, but I think I'm running 4 cores and minimum 3 gigs of RAM, but definitely likes targeting a single system more than multiple systems. I'm going to pause this because these are going to be a lot of the same ones. And something happened. There we go. We started. We have exploited the web server. Doesn't look like it found anything anywhere else. We'll be listing sessions shortly. So now it starts the MFSF console. Sessions-V should bring up. Man, it's still doing it. Oh, I got 3 sessions last time. Right now we've only got 1. Let's see what one we pulled up. Maybe it's still running through them. I closed out a few of the windows just to make space. Looks like it's still thinking about all this. But we brought up, so we have a lot more attack vectors now. Possibilities. Login options, though it still doesn't have a username or a password, as you can see. And we have created 5 shells this time. 3. Looks like it's still trying to load the session, so. Oh, here we go. It's opened 2, 3, and 5 so far. Looks like I'll give it a little bit more time. Okay, that took a few minutes, but the shell is finally loaded. So I went through each shell, typed lstack-l, and who am I? So shell 2, looks like we're on the main system, and we are root. Shell 1, we are in the website, and we are www-data. Shell 3, looks like we're also root on the main system. Shell 4, we are the web daemon. Shell 5, we are, looks like a mail server. So I think 2 will work good. Commands can take a little bit to go, so let's cd, let's go to Etsy. Make sure everything looks normal. So we can see a little better. And so we got hosts, file, we have stopped at menu. Crown, this all looks pretty normal. Oh, I guess it's still going. It looks like we might have gotten stuck a little bit. Notice it'll do this sometimes, you'll have artifact, but yep, it looks like we're working fine. Pass WD file. And the shadow file are what we need. So now I can copy and paste those. And I'm going to stop this video here, now that we've done our exploits, our actual penetrating the network, and I will do a separate video on cracking the passwords. Thank you for watching.